From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land, nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Testosterone high today.
Yeah, Tom's a man, he's got the plan, he's really got it made. What a wife he's got, she's smoking hot, check out the junkyard babe. When everything is said and done, no one can beat his show. He's a high-tech redneck, Tony Soprano. If you love sports without the fluff, he's got the master plan. Cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham, yeah.
I guess I'm on here, am I on? If somebody responds.
And good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Thom Abraham Show today. And let me tell you something right now. Last night, oh, my gosh.
Ground ball. Velasquez throws across. He did it! Reed Detmers throws a no-hitter!
Reed freaking Detmers. I mean, 1 year ago today, Reed Detmers, that guy who threw that no-hitter last night, pitched the first game in Toyota Field history in what was the Trash Pandas home opener 1 year ago today. Last night, he pitched the Angels' 12th ever no-hitter. And by the way, the 50th no-hitter against the Rays, the Tampa Bay Rays, which is really something. Seeing how the Angels are 61 years old while the Rays are just 24. Look, I've said it before. Yeah, it's Double-A. But when you go out to a Trash Panda game, you are seeing future major leaguers. You don't know who they are, but you are seeing future major leaguers. And if you got any kind of a baseball eye, if you look close enough, you can figure it out. Phone lines are open, 256-576-4977. You can also text the show at 732-9TA-SHOW, 732-982-7469. That is a tremendous way to communicate with us. My personal Twitter feed is at Thom Abraham Show. The station's feed is at 97.7 ESPN. You can watch the show on Twitch and Facebook at 97.7 ESPN. On our YouTube channel at 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Like and subscribe there to get notifications. Go to 97.7ESPN.com. Get links to all of that stuff. And while you're at it, get the app. Get the app where you can find links to Zone 2, 3, and 4 as well. Our alternate streaming channels for more great programming. Tonight, the Braves and the Red Sox go again after a truncated drive with Steve Moulton going solo tonight because Wes is off this week. Now, coming up in a few minutes, another Carey's Corner with Trash Pandas play-by-play man Josh Carey. The boys lost last night in Pensacola, but that's just like a side story. I mean, what a night in baseball. What a night. Highlighted by Detmers' no-no. And there are a ton of side notes to that, too. You know, he almost had a perfect game. He almost had a perfecto. He walked one dude. And he only struck out two. In this day and age, he only struck out two dudes and had a no-hitter. That's the fewest. It ties for the fewest strikeouts in a no-hitter in 50 years. 50 years. The Angels play great defense behind him. And by the way, they look good right now. And I know we're only 30-something games in. I get that. But I think that there's enough of a sample to say they look good right now. I mean, Mike Trout is looking like Mickey Mantle again. He's having another MVP-like start to this season. Shohei Ohtani, who's going tonight, is an absolute unicorn. He had his first Grand Slam in his last week. They are 21-11. They have the second-best record in the American League, behind only the Yankees. And speaking of the Yankees, last night in the Bronx, they looked dead in the water. They were being no-hit through 5 innings. Then DJ LeMahieu comes up and gets a double. Another guy gets on, down 3-0. Giancarlo Stanton hits one of his awkward swing home runs to the right field porch that is only a home run in Yankee Stadium to tie the game at 3. Giancarlo Stanton, I swear to God, he is the big kid in Little League who just swats at the ball. He just clubs the ball, Giancarlo Stanton. The most unathletic-looking guy. I mean, he's built like, an Adonis, but he just clubs the ball. No lower body, no nothing. He just goes up there and just clubs it. So the game's now tied at 3. Josh Donaldson comes up. He gets dotted. And the umpires get together, and they run the pitcher. Yami Garcia. They run the pitcher without even a warning. I mean, all hell breaks loose then. I mean, are you really going to hit a guy in a 3-3 game in the 6th inning? Are you going to hit a guy on purpose against that Yankee lineup in a 3-3 game in the 6th inning? Then in the 7th inning, Jonathan Loaiza of the Yankees, he goes up and in on Dante Bichette. The helmet goes flying. He didn't hit him. Helmet goes flying. Bichette's got that flow going, Looked very dramatic. He starts nodding his head. Yeah, okay, come up and in on me. Come up and in on me. And the Jays dugout goes nuts. As if you are intentionally trying to hit a guy in a 3-3 game in the 7th against a team that you need to beat in the American League East. Yeah, I'm sure he was trying to hit a guy. He came up and in on him. So the oversensitive, rabbit-eared ump tosses Blue Jay manager Charlie Montoya, who, by the way, is one of the nicest guys you want to meet, tosses Charlie Montoya out of the game. He's already tossed the pitching coach. He's tossed Yami Garcia. I mean, he's just throwing guys out left and right. I mean, this is a big game. It's an important game. And really, as Paul O'Neill said on the Yankees broadcast, this is kind of embarrassing. I mean, this is where we're at with baseball. This is kind of embarrassing. Okay, I mean, do they not understand the situation at all? Do they really think they're trying to hit somebody? It's really kind of embarrassing. So the Jays go up 5-3 in the 8th inning. And then Aaron Judge comes up in the bottom of the 9th. Down 2 runs, 2 out, 2 men on.
Here's the 1-2. Swung on and hit in the air to deep left field. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone. It's a game-winning walk-off 3-run home run by Aaron Judge. He hit it 1.5 miles in the left field seats. So Judge, a Judgian blast. And here he comes. Here comes the Judge. He drills a walk-off 3-run, 1-out, 9th inning home run. And the Yankees win the ball game 6-5. Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
That dude's done a lot in 6 years as a Yankee. He's never done that. He has never had a walk-off home run. Never. Now he's done that. I mean, we just paid a guy. His price tag is going up by the week, okay? Will you just pay the guy? He says he wants to be a Yankee for life. Just get this deal done. I know that they made him a very fair offer. It's like $28 million a year or something like that. Just pay this guy. He's clean cut. He represents your organization beautifully. He says all the right things. He should be the captain. They need to make him the captain. He needs to be the first captain since Derek Jeter. Make Aaron Judge the captain. They can't make him the captain because he might only be a Yankee for another half a season. They need to get that deal done. I mean, look, Fox is going to pay Tom Brady $37.5 million a year to be a friggin' broadcaster. What is the face of the most famous franchise in the world? A guy will go down as a legendary Yankee worth. I mean, come on. At the top of the 11, Zach Kallman is back from the USFL newsroom as the league hits the halfway point of the season this weekend. Fox Corporation Executive Chairman Lachlan Murdoch, son of Rupert, on yesterday's earnings call said this, quote, through its first 3 weeks, nearly 20 million people watched the USFL on TV and games on Fox and NBC, are averaging 1.5 million viewers per game. That compares favorably to well-established spring sports properties like the NHL, F1, the EPL, and MLS, all properties which either recently earned sizable rights increases or are expected to do so soon. We are clearly establishing that the USFL belongs in this competitive set. Close quote. But look, the football has been good enough, and it has been, football. Now Bo Scarborough is a stallion. I still prefer a February through May schedule, and we'll see what player competition looks like next spring when the XFL is set to start. But they're averaging 1.5 million eyeballs per game. So you naysayers out there, it's 1.5 million people per game. And they just started. No history at all. They have more people watch this than watch the EPL in the United States, the English Premier League. More people watch this than watch MLS. More people. He didn't even mention WNBA. I mean, they get double, triple the ratings WNBA does. He didn't mention that. You got more people watching and watch the NHL playoffs. F1, except for this last race, when 4 million people watched it. Over there in that little glass room, playing the Platters That Matter and the Stacks of Wax, answering the phones, keeping us on the air. I feel like I should give them something different today.
It must be Wednesday. I called it hump day.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is?
Hey, Chris.
Huh? Anybody? Mike. What day is it, Mike? Let's guess what today is.
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
I should get one of those when they say, Chris. Chad. That was actually used to make sense when Smokey Mike mixed the show back in the day. That's what I had for him. Mike.
I might have to cut that part where you said Chad, and just do it repeat over and over again.
I may just
or
have to
just do it a
use
couple times, not over and over again.
Maybe
might get a little bit too much.
Maybe I had a different entry for you each and every day. Maybe that's what I need to do. I go with one of those. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing just fine. Had a wonderful time last night at the Furniture Factory, kind of filling in with Keith's neighbors. And
what'd you eat?
What I eat?
What'd you eat? That's all that's important is what did you eat at the Furniture Factory?
Of course, it's Tuesday, so you had to get the Pedro's Mexican Feast. So you always got to get down
fish
there.
Tacos or something? Or what'd you get for what's the Pedro's Mexican Feast?
Just a bunch of different stuff. He cooks up a bunch of different stuff and just has it out on like a
Was it his birthday yesterday? I think it was yesterday. It was Pedro's birthday, wasn't it?
I think his birthday's every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
I think they celebrate every Tuesday. They actually have karaoke too later in the night. I kind of stuck around a little bit later and kind of.
Did you karaoke?
I did not.
What would be your go-to karaoke song?
Something Hank Williams or Waylon Jennings or something like that.
Now, Hank or Hank Jr.?
Hank Jr. My grandfather was a huge Hank Sr. fan.
I didn't know you were a country music fan.
Oh yeah, are you kidding me?
Old
I grew up
country
here.
Music.
I grew up.
No, I know that, but a lot of people aren't. I mean,
I'm born and raised from here.
No, I know, but a lot of people still aren't. I mean, I understand that.
Yeah.
But
I know some people. Well, I guess now I don't like a lot of the country nowadays. I like a lot of the older
modern country is the pop.
Yeah.
Is what it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of modern country is.
Now
pop,
there are some good songs nowadays, but they're not as much as kind of some of the classics.
I'm a honky tonk southern rock kind of sound for the country music I like. I'm a Travis Tritt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean that's I like Hank Jr. And I do like some of the new stuff. Some of it, but I love Chris Stapleton. I mean, I love me some Chris Stapleton. Tennessee Whiskey.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, some of that stuff is really good. There's some new sound that isn't bad. I mean, there's no doubt about that. So while all that amazing baseball was going on last night, and there was a lot of it going on, the the Braves were losing to a bad Red Sox team.
Oof.
That had lost like 5 in a row.
I watched the majority of that game.
I think they lost like 14 of the last 18 games, the Red Sox, and they get that win. I mean, that was a little bit weird.
That was not fun to watch, especially when at the beginning of the game in the first inning you had runners at the corners and you did nothing with it, and then the very next inning in the second inning, they get 6 runs in the second inning and they pretty much kind of pulled away. Now you give up a grand slam in the second inning as well. It just was not a good outing for Kyle Wright, who was coming in really strong, and you hopefully he can bounce back, or you just hopefully the Braves can split today.
Well, yeah, I mean they need to. You get swept in your building by a bad team. That's not good. I mean you can't have that happening. I'll tell you what, it was setting up like to be an ugly night for me last night. I mean, by the time it got to 7:30 or so,
yeah,
the Yankees were being no hit, and the Bruins were down 4-0.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, what in God's name? I think I went out and sat on the porch with the Junkyard Babe. I think I said to her, the Yankees were getting no hit. The Bruins were getting their heads kicked in.
Yeah.
And I turned to her. She had been gone yesterday. She was helping out, doing some different stuff. And she had been gone most of the day yesterday. And I said to her, do you want to go sit on the porch? That's what I did. That's what I did. And today is recycling day. So she went and sat on the porch with me. I thought we'd sit until dusk, but she's like, I got to get the recycling out, and I need to water the plants. So we sat for like 5 minutes. But I sat there and took a timeout and came back in. The Bruins were still getting their head handed to them, and Giancarlo Stanton was clubbing a stupid-looking home. He has got the worst swing. And the thing is, I don't know if you've seen the video of Aaron Judge's walk-off. Aaron Judge, that was the most beautiful right-handed home run swing. Greg Nettles used to have a swing like that.
Yeah.
But that was it was a Ken Griffey-esque. Ken Griffey had a wonderful swing. But that swing by Aaron Judge last night was so pretty and so athletic. And then, so Stanton clubbed one, and Judge hit one of his beautiful high moonshot home runs.
Yeah.
And so I went to bed happy at that particular point in time. Plus Steve Merrill. How about Steve Merrill? You want to talk about hotter than a pistol?
Yeah.
Steve will be on with us tomorrow. Steve Merrill is 14-5 in his last 19 picks, because he sends me his picks. Steve Merrill is 14-5 in his last 19 picks in the NBA or in Major League Baseball. Last night he gave us the Miami Heat laid a wood. Man, did they lay a wood. Philadelphia's dead. I mean, they're just dead in the water. He gave us Phoenix and laid a wood. Man, did they lay a wood. Dallas is dead. They're dead. I know it goes back. They're dead. It's over.
That was sad to watch. Finney Smith. I mean, they had Powell who gave them like 10 minutes, 0 points.
Dead.
Jordan Brunson showed up, but it was not good for them.
Dead. And then to cap it off, he gave us the Padres on the money line at minus 165, which is heavy. The run line was minus 1.5. The Padres are up 5-3 against the Cubs in the top of the ninth inning, right, Grizz? So it's 5-3. So I'm thinking I laid the 1.5. So I'm like, okay, 5-3, get them out. They're throwing wild pitches. They're hitting guys. I mean, they put all these guys on base, and then somebody gets a knock for the Cubs. They knock a guy in. Now it's 5-4. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, damn. Damn. I laid a 1.5.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn. And then they get the bases loaded, and I'm hoping for them to tie the game so that maybe the Padres could get, like, by miracle, get like a 2-run homer in the 10th inning, and they would win. They would cover the 2 runs, right, and a 1.5.
Yeah.
So they get bases loaded, 2 outs, and the Cubs guy hits a shot to left field, and it puts the left fielder against the wall. They had to look at it to see if the ball hit the wall before it went in his glove. He puts his glove up against the wall. He catches the ball. Game over. Padres win. The Padres win. Tom doesn't win because I laid a 1.5, right?
Yep.
So then I go to my app, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I bet the money line. I didn't bet the run line. I just bet that the Padres would win.
Yeah.
So it was minus 165, so it wasn't a big payout.
Yeah, no.
But still, Steve Merrill, 3-0 last night. He is 14-5 in his picks now at Pro Sports Info in his last 19 picks. And I hope he has a good night tonight. I should tell you. I'll tell you during a commercial break. I don't want to tell the peeps because, the guy, this is what he does for a living. I can't give his pick out for free to all of these people. But I'll tell you during the break. What he likes here. All right, let's get a break. When we come back, Josh Carey will join us. We'll talk baseball with Josh Carey. He is down in Pensacola with the Trash Pandas. But what a night last night in baseball. We'll talk a little bit of country hardball with Josh Carey next on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hey.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
More NBA Game 5s tonight. The Bucks a 5.5-point underdog at the Celtics. The series tied at 2. Warriors a chance to clinch a spot in the Western Conference Finals. They're a 2.5-point favorite at the Grizzlies. Golden State leading the series 3-1. After a stunning upset at the Kentucky Derby, Rich Strike again not the favorite for the Preakness. Derby favorite Epicenter, the plus 250 favorite ahead of Rich Strike at plus 500, and Taba and Simplification at plus 800. The Preakness a week from Saturday, May 21st. Baseball, the Braves and Red Sox tonight in Atlanta. Braves the minus 125 favorite at home. Boston plus 115, the over-under 7.5. Ian Anderson set to start for Atlanta against Nathan Eovaldi for the Sox.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Thom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Outdoor season is coming. Can't wait.
Here at Brooks & Collier, neither can we. Outdoor season is also grilling season.
And we have plenty of grills and smokers in stock. From Traeger, Blaze, and Big Green Egg.
There's the greenhouse. New indoor items and home furnishings as well.
Whatever it takes. Browse over 2 acres of furnishings. Can't wait.
How about you? North Alabama's indoor and outdoor living headquarters for over 75 years.
813 Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
New message.
What up? It's Heather's cousin. You dated her in college, or maybe you were just in the same class. Anyway, I heard you bought a boat, my man. Let's hit the water. Oh, and Heather told me you always liked, snacks and stuff, so I could totally bring some chips.
When you get a boat, you also get new friends. Make sure Progressive's one of them, and get coverage today for as little as $100 a year.
Hey, also, I'm a little short on cash, so can you cover the chips? Thanks. I can see why Heather liked you.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Annual premium for basic liability policy not available in all states.
It's Kentucky Derby season, and Bad Daddy's Burger Bar is celebrating by offering another awesome zone deal. If you haven't tried our chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness, then now is the time to sink your teeth into one of Bad Daddy's award-winning burgers for half price. Our zone deal this week gets you $50 worth of delicious burgers made with premium Angus beef for just $25. Log on 977ESPN.com now and get your Bad Daddy's Burger Bar zone deal before they're gone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the upper 80s. Some of us could very well see the lower 90s. I'm not going to completely eliminate the opportunity for an isolated shower, but I don't want you to think too much into that. At the end of the day, most of us probably going to end up staying dry. We stay warm as we head into the overnight. Temperatures only dropping into the lower 60s. Much the same for your Thursday afternoon. A mostly sunny sky. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Online at 977ESPN.com.
Stream them online.
Call in.
It's an important job, and it's an vital organization.
Tweet in and join in. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Talking baseball. Klazuski, Campanella talking baseball. The man and Bobby Fella, the Scooter, the Barber, and the Nuke. They knew them all from Boston to Dubuque, especially Willie, Mickey, and the Duke.
The segment of the Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by North Alabama Mortgage. You know, buying a home right now is very, very competitive out there. North Alabama Mortgage can help you get your offer accepted. That's right. You have to go to NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more about how they can get it done. But they'll take care of you in Alabama, Florida, and Tennessee with conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. Whether it's a purchase or a refinance, North Alabama Mortgage can help you. Now is the time, too, because rates have been going up, and you might want to jump on that refi now before these rates go much higher. So check it out. Talk to a specialist from North Alabama Mortgage. Brian Hamaker and his team, very involved in the community as well. I mean, they do a tremendous job for the community, and they can do a tremendous job for you. Doing a tremendous job as the voice of the Rocket City Trash Pandas is Josh Carey. He is down in Pensacola, where the Trash Pandas dropped the game last night, but that's almost like an afternote compared to what kind of a night it was in the majors, headed by Reed Detmer's no-hitter last night, and what a night it was. This is what it sounded like.
Ground ball. Velasquez throws across. He done it! Reed Detmers throws a no-hitter!
The only thing would be better is if Josh Carey could have been on that call for that. The crowd sounded like it was a little bit bigger than the one in Pensacola, maybe. I'm not sure. Josh joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Josh, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing great. What a great moment last night. You know, the cool thing, Tom, is because we're in North Florida, we get the Rays broadcast here, and so we we listened to that. It was a little different sounding than that one, but it was still magical nonetheless. We're just so happy for Reed and for all that he's accomplished, and what a great moment for him, and hopefully it's a bit of a turning point for him as well. What a great night.
Yeah, he had not been great. In fact, he wasn't, his numbers weren't great for the Trash Pandas last spring. It was obvious that he had the good stuff, but I forgot that was a West Coast game. So you probably were able to, don't you have that MLB, the extra innings or something like that? You could have watched it on your tablet. You could have actually watched that game last night.
No, we would have been blacked out because of we're in Tampa's territorial rights. So, yeah, we would have been blacked out from that. But, yeah, we came home. We came back to the hotel, flipped on the TV. It was right there. This is actually one of the best baseball areas to be because you get Rays games, you get Marlins games. I don't think you get Braves, but you get Rays and Marlins, so you get at least those two. And so we get to check out both of them. And, the Rays, we got their broadcast last night. And not only did we see that, we saw both Rendon and Trout and Ohtani all go off on Phillips, who was throwing a knuckleball in the eighth inning. So we saw a little bit of everything last night. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we'll get to Trash Pandas. Yes, they get tagged last night with their 10th loss of the season, but they have the best record in the Southern League. It's not close either. At 18-10, they're the only team in the Southern League that's playing 600 baseball, and they're playing nearly 650 baseball to get the thing started this year. and so are the Angels. I mean, the Angels are at 21-11, and it seems like you wonder whether or not rising water, rises all boats, because it seems to be a organization-wide type thing that everybody who is associated with the Angels is playing really good ball right now. This Angel team, I know it's only been like 31 games or so, or 32 games, but you're looking at what it could look like, and this might be a special year for them.
Yeah, and what's cool about it is you're starting to see guys make an impact, right? I mean, you're seeing Shohei and Trout and Noah Syndergaard and guys like that, and you expected that, but now Aaron Whitefield gets called up, and you saw what Reed Detmers did last night. Oliver Ortega, he's a part of their bullpen. Elvis Peguero, who was a part of the Trash Pandas last year briefly, he's a part of their bullpen as well. So what's so cool for us as the Trash Pandas is that guys who came through our system, through our ballpark, are now making a contribution. And that makes us feel so good, because that's what we're here for, is to see these guys develop and get better and improve, and to not only live out their dream, but to ultimately help the Angels win a world title one day. And so that's what they're on their way to doing. And when they succeed, we succeed. And so we're just so happy for them and what they're doing right now. And hopefully they keep doing it. The AL West is not a great division right now. So they really have a great opportunity, even if they don't win the division, to at least sneak into the playoffs. And once that happens, who knows what will happen.
Yeah, Houston doesn't suck. They're always pretty competitive these days. But, I appreciate what you're saying about guys coming through. We're talking about a year ago, though. This isn't a deal where, in the past when we used to see, Prince Fielder here, or, some Ricky Weeks here, or, J.J. Hardy, or these other guys, it was like a couple of 3 years later, when you'd see them in the show. We're talking about a year ago today that Reed Detmers was on the bump opening up Toyota Field. A year ago today. I say it over and over again to people. You go out to that ballpark and you watch a game, you're looking at major leaguers. You might not know which one it is. If you got a good eye, you might can figure it out. But you're looking at guys that are going to be doing stuff in the show within a short period of time. And here we got the guy who opened the stadium a year ago today pitching a no-hitter.
Yeah, and it really goes to show you that it depends on who the guy is. Like we talked about Reed just moments ago, his numbers haven't been great, but the thing about him is he's so mature beyond his years. He's 22, but he acts like he's 42, right? And so even though he struggles, he knows what he has to do to get ready from start to start. He keeps trying to get better. He's trying to improve his game. And because of that, you still feel confident, if you're the Angels, that he's going to turn the corner one day, right? And so because of that, even though the numbers might not have been eye-popping at Rocket City, and even though the numbers certainly weren't great to begin with in Los Angeles, you just feel right that he's going to get it done one day. And as long as that's the case, you got to give the kid a shot. The maturity is such a big factor in this. We've seen other guys come through here who have posted better numbers, but might not have the maturity with it. So when we get the guys who come here to AA, even if they don't put up those numbers that you expect, if they handle themselves well and they put forth the work and they do everything that's asked of them from the organization, chances are it's not going to be that long before they're pitching in a big league ballpark. And hopefully it's not too long after that they're actually making a difference. So again, a great moment for Reed, and hopefully that's the start of things to come for him down the line.
Yeah, you would think. Now, let's also put some things into perspective, too, with this. This was a great team effort. This was tremendous team defense. He only struck out two guys, Reed Detmers, last night. That ties the fewest in 50 years strikeouts in a no-hitter, which means they played great defense behind him. And he walks one guy. He almost had a perfect game. Yeah. But this was truly a team no-hitter almost, if you will, last night.
Yeah, and when you can pitch to contact and you do what he did, and you're absolutely right. He had a great defense behind him. There were a couple of nice plays defensively. Rendon, I remember, made one pretty nice stop and threw a guy out at first. But Reed was so strikeout-oriented when he was with Rocket City. And I think one thing that may have hurt him when he came up to the majors is that he felt like he had to do the same thing, right? And a lot of young guys feel that way. Oh, I got to get out there and I got to strike people out. No, you got to get people out. Doesn't matter how you get them out, just get them out. And so he struck out 2 guys and he pitched a no-no, and hopefully that clicked something in his head, right? He was just so pinpoint with his control. There was a period there in the 7th inning where he went to about 2 or 3 3-0 counts, and he came back and he was able to get outs to get out of that inning. Hopefully he is able to show himself that, especially at big league level, you got to do more than just K people. You got to use your defense behind you, and that's exactly what he did. It's still a team-oriented sport, and so he's moving in the right direction. And, again, I've said it once, I'll say it again. I like to think that this is a turning point. Don't be surprised if he goes out there the next time and gives up 3 or 4 runs, but hopefully he sees what it takes to be a winner on a consistent basis on a major league ball club.
Josh Carey with us, the voice of the Trash Pandas. We're talking about Reed Detmers last night, a Trash Panda a year ago, now pitching a no-hitter in Major League Baseball. Okay, so tell the listeners now, who are we looking at now? I mean, who do you think, and I'm not talking about a year from now, it may be a couple of years or whatever, but if you go to a Trash Pandas game and you're looking at Brett Carey pitch a game, or you're looking at Trey Cabbage, where I don't know where the heck he could play. I mean, you got Mike Trout out there, but Trey Cabbage, a first baseman that's hitting .327 with 9 home runs and 30 RBI for the Trash Pandas. When I watch a game here, what am I looking at? Who are my major leaguers here that I'm looking at?
Well, how about we start with this? I want to go back to something you said about, how Detmers started opening day at Toyota Field a year ago. After his time at Rocket City, he pitched 1 game in Salt Lake. That was it, just 1 game, and then he got bumped to the majors. So it's almost like he skipped AAA. Just 2 days ago or 3 days ago, we saw Aaron Whitefield skip AAA completely and go straight to the majors. So when you say, Tom, that AA is really just it could be the final stop before a guy goes to the show, you're not kidding. And so really you are looking at guys who may very well just be a day or 2 from playing in a major league ballpark. As for right now, obviously Whitefield just got up there. In fact, he played the final 2 innings last night. He's already had an at-bat up there. Trey, I could see Trey in a major league uniform. I just think it's kind of crowded right now between the Angels and AAA, him moving up. So I don't know where his ceiling is, at least for the time being, but I think he's got the goods without question. Brett has been a little up and down. He actually struggled last night, even though he only gave up 1 run. He only went 4 frames. I would say the best prospect right now is Trey Cabbage. Is just that there's already a solid first baseman and right fielder at AAA, and they've already got a really good first baseman at the major league level. Yeah. So there's not really. That's the thing. There's not any room right now because they're so flush with talent. The Angels have done a tremendous job. So there's not really that guy right now. Chase Silseth, I could see him possibly moving up. But again, the problem is when you're so good at the top, why do you want to change anything? So right now, everyone is just kind of in a holding pattern, and we'll just see how things play out if guys start to struggle and if guys get injured.
Well, you also got to look at what they need, and guys like Trey Cabbage could be, trade currency. I mean, that's a guy that other people, other teams would be looking at and say, because that still helps the team. He was drafted by the Twins. That still helps the team. But, and the other thing about, with baseball too, you look at the differences between an Aaron Whitfield. He's an Australian, right? I mean, that dude came a long way to do this, right? He's up from Australia. Trey Cabbage is from Knoxville, Tennessee. You know what I mean? So there you go. I mean, that just kind of shows you got all the Latin players and so on. You got Whitfield from Australia. You got Trey Cabbage from Tennessee. Guys are coming from everywhere, and that's the quality of play that you see out there.
Yeah, the one thing I'm going to give Trey and Aaron that last year's team just did not have a lot of is these guys can run. I mean, and that's just an aspect that the Trash Pandas really didn't have last year. These guys can fly around the base paths. And so, you get late in the season and you need a guy who can pinch run and steal you a base. That's what Aaron and Trey can do. Yeah. So that's an area where they can probably help you out in the immediate in terms of playing every day. that's where it gets a little tricky. So I don't know. But when you talk about where all these guys come from, man, there's a lot of good baseball out there. And down under, they're starting to get some prospects down there. You know, Whitefield, he's only the 36th player all time from Australia to play Major League Baseball. So a lot of good things happening for the Trash Pandas this week. A lot of good stuff.
He was 13 for 15 in stolen bases, and that's something when you talk about only in 24 games or so this season.
Played 24 games, had a hit in 23 of them.
That's amazing. Hit in 301. Now, is this? Do you know what when a guy goes from AAA to the show immediately? A lot of times you feel like, okay, this is just for some period of time because of a particular need that they had. He's an outfielder. Do we expect to see him back, do you think? I mean, would it be a shock to see him back? Would they send him to Salt Lake, or was he a guy that could come right back to Huntsville?
I really think he would go to Salt Lake just because Orlando Martinez replaced him down here just a day ago. In fact, Orlando had an RBI single last night. And the reason they moved Martinez down here is because they want Orlando to get more at-bats. They went down. He would be kind of that fourth outfielder in Salt Lake City, which I don't think is good for him. I could see him sticking at the major league level as that fourth outfielder, that backup guy. Wherever he goes, whether it's AAA or the majors, he's probably going to be a bench type of guy. I mean, I hate saying that because he has so much talent, but unless someone begins to struggle somewhere, I just don't see him breaking into a starting role quite yet, just because he doesn't have that major league pedigree or that background that has allowed him to prove himself on a day-to-day basis. He can run. He plays good defense. He's a tremendous teammate. But I just don't see him playing every single day at the major league level. He would have to make it as a backup up there, and if he gets bumped down to AAA, he would probably be splitting time with someone down there.
Josh Carey with us talking some country hardball. All right, while you were calling that game yesterday, it was a great game in the Bronx as well between two teams that are going to battle it out, you think, all year long in the American League East between the Yankees and the Toronto Blue Jays. And, first it was Giancarlo Stanton with his awkward, weird swing, clubbing a ball, over that right field fence, which is the only stadium in all of baseball that would have been a home run to tie the game at 3. The next batter was Josh Donaldson. I don't know if you saw any of the highlights of this deal, but the next batter was Josh Donaldson. He gets dotted by Yami Garcia, the second pitch or so. It's the 6th inning of a 3-3 game. I mean, there's no way to try to hit a guy. You don't want to put a guy on against that lineup, that can get runs in a hurry. And he gets thrown out of the game. Not even a warning or anything. The umpires get together. It seemed to be totally tone deaf as to what's going on in the game. They throw him out of the game. In the 7th inning, Jonathan Loaisiga comes inside on Dante Bichette, just kind of pushes him back. I mean, it looked a lot more, dramatic than really what it was. But Bichette, jackknifes out of the way of the ball. And the Blue Jays dugout goes nuts. It's a 3-3 game in the 7th inning. Do you really want to hit a guy? No, they're not trying to hit the guy. And they throw out everybody in the dugout, these rabbit-eared umpires. I don't understand what's going on, but you'd think that they would have a sense. Paul O'Neill called it embarrassing on the Yankees broadcast. That it was embarrassing that they were throwing all of these Blue Jay people out as if, anybody is trying to put people on base in a 3-3 game late in the game. Makes no sense. These umpires are tone deaf. What do you think?
Well, they're tone deaf, and there's no recourse for punishment. Did you see what happened to the umpire in the Marlins Diamondbacks game last week, who was checking Bumgarner?
Yeah, I saw it, but what did they do to him? He didn't get suspended or anything?
No, all he did was a written apology. And for those who don't know that situation, Bumgarner had gotten 2 outs in the inning. He thought he had punched out a guy for strike 3 to end the inning, didn't get the call, gets the guy to fly out. He barks at the umpire as he's walking off the field. The crew chief, and his name escapes me, comes over and starts checking Bumgarner for the sticky stuff, right? Starts checking his hand. And usually when they check your hand, it's just a once-over and you're done. But this umpire, held his
hand massage. Give him a manicure. He was like giving him a full mani-pedi.
And he just basically goading Madison on, just trying to get a rise out of him. You know, Bumgarner, he's a tense dude, right? And so Bumgarner says a choice word or two, and then he gets thrown out of the game. And here's the problem, and I've said this before. I said this with Angel Hernandez during the Phillies Brewers game. These guys, when they screw up, they're not getting punished. That's the problem. They are protected by this union that is going to hover over them and make sure that they are petted and taken care of, and nothing bad is ever going to happen to them. And so you have this tone deaf, this very insular world that they live in, where they know that if they make a mistake, nothing bad's going to happen, and then they wonder why robot umpires are becoming a thing now. I am telling you, Tom, if the Major League umpires want to make good with Major League Baseball and the players and the fans and everyone else involved, they have got to come down hard on their own people. They have got to quit acting like a typical union and start punishing guys and saying, listen, if you act like a moron, you are going to be suspended for a game or 2 or 5 or 8 or whatever it may be, or you're going to be docked pay or whatever the case may be, or you're not going to do the World Series or the LCS. There's got to be more of that, because what happened at Yankee Stadium last night is a flat-out embarrassment. What happened in Miami last week is an embarrassment. You know, Angel Hernandez, okay, he had a terrible game. You know, stuff like that, unfortunately, is going to happen with him. But at the end of the day, this stuff keeps happening, and it can't keep happening, because when it does, it makes the entire sport look terrible. Someone from the Umpires Association has got to step up and say, guys, we got to hold you more accountable.
The thing is, I don't know who in New York is calling the shots, but the way they got together, it was almost as if there was more than just the umpires in the conversation. Somebody in New York was in their ear as well. I mean, somebody in mission control, whatever that looks like in baseball, was in their ear as well, and I'm sure it was involved in that discussion when they decided to go right past warning, and we're going to throw the pitcher out for hitting a guy in a 3-3 game in the 6th inning. I mean, it was just goofy. But I don't know if that's also, you know, somebody that's within the you know, if that's a Major League Baseball personnel or if that's an umpire union type personnel in New York.
Well, you know, think about this. You know, any place of work, it doesn't matter where you are, there's always a manager on duty, right? I mean, right. Day shift, night shift, whatever. There's got to be someone on duty and mission control who's watching every game, or maybe 2 or 3 games a pop, who's watching and making sure that everything is up to snuff and all that, who can look at this and say, guys, knock it off. You made a bad decision here. Bring those guys back in. Quit being stupid. Let's resume play. There's got to be someone like that, right, who's back in New York, who's watching these games, who can make a decision like that. Now, I don't know if they were talking to someone like that back in New York or what the deal was, but there's got to be a little more oversight on these guys. I do hate micromanagement, but if you're going to act like a baby, then you need to be treated like one. And it sounds like that's what these guys are doing right now.
It seems like, I mean, they know baseball, right? I mean, you got to kind of assess the entire situation and say, okay, is this a spot where a guy, you can't pitch inside? I mean, you can't even come inside. And for them to think that you're putting a guy on, there is a time and a place. We know what retaliation looks like. We know. You and I know. We've been watching baseball on it. We know what retaliation looks like. It doesn't look like the 7th inning of a 3-3 game between rivals. It doesn't make any sense, you know.
You've got to use common sense. There was a game earlier this year. Actually, it was at Toyota Field. It was Rocket City in Pensacola. And one of our players got hit on the hand by a pitch, but the umpire called it a foul ball because he couldn't tell if it hit the hand or the bat or whatever. But I remember the batter for Rocket City, as soon as it happened, his reaction, I mean, he turned and went to the backstop. He's holding his hand, and he's grimacing in pain and screaming and yelling and shaking his hand. I mean, it's obvious that he was hit by the pitch.
Right.
I mean, just the reaction. I mean, you could tell. General common sense tells you this guy was hit by the pitch. But because the umpire didn't actually see the ball hit the hand, he had to go with the foul ball on the field. No, use some. No one here is Marlon Brando, right? No one here can act that well. So use some common sense, guys. I mean, that's all you have to do. Just take a breath, look at the situation, look at what's happening around you, and say, what's the right decision here, and go with that.
Well, enjoy that beautiful ballpark in Pensacola. I still don't like the synthetic turf. I don't like it. I'm going to stick with Richie Allen. If the cow can't eat it, I don't want to play on it. But it did look pretty. That picture you posted from your from the press box looked very, very nice. So it's a beautiful place, Pensacola. So enjoy that with a trash panel win tonight, hopefully.
What did Tug McGraw once say? If I can't smoke it, I don't want to play on it.
There you go. I was trying to be a little more politically correct than that. Go with if I can't eat it. You know what I mean? If a cow can't eat it, you know. But Tug McGraw. That's right. Who a lot of people know is Tim McGraw's daddy. All right. Well, I appreciate you as always, man. Great stuff.
Be good.
All right. Thanks. All right. Let's get a break. We'll come back, set you up for hour number 2 next. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? 2 Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us, too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Bring that playoff intensity every day to our shows.
Bring it on, Chop. Let's go.
Okay, maybe just for Drew DeArmond.
Bing, me.
Listen for Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew. Weekday mornings starting at 7 on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
And welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. By the way, speaking of grass, and whether or not you can smoke it, did you hear about this bus the Delaware State University women's lacrosse team. Okay, Delaware State is a HBCU, and they had gone to Georgia and Florida and played some lacrosse games down there, and they were on their way back to Delaware, and they got stopped on Interstate 95, and apparently the bus was in the left lane, and it's illegal for buses to be in the left lane on the interstate, right, on I-95 in Georgia, and that's why they were stopped, right? So the cop tells the driver that the left lane was prohibited for buses, asked him to step outside. There was 30 lacrosse players on the bus, coaches and so on. They're sitting on the bus, they're waiting, and then the next thing you know, the cops, who were 3 white guys, the cops were pulling all the luggage off the bus, and they're looking, from the underneath compartment of the bus, and they got the dog sniffing dog out there, going through all the belongings and going through all the bags, looking for marijuana. And it was like, the coach is like, what's going on? What is the need for this just for a regular routine traffic stop? Of course, most of the players and the staff were black. The cops were 3 white Georgia cops, so immediately the racial overtone is there. But I got to be totally honest with you. They said they were looking for drugs and paraphernalia, looking for large quantities. The cop said if there's anything in y'all's luggage, we're probably going to find it. You can hear him on a cell phone video. I'm not looking for a little bit of marijuana, but I'm pretty sure you guys, chaperones, will probably be disappointed if we find it. But I'm not sure. Can you just search the bus for dope after you stop on a routine stop? I don't get that. Zach Kylman is back. USFL Newsroom next.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
The Atlanta Braves are back on the field, and this reloaded roster is fired up to defend their crown and run it back in 2022.
Pitch on the way to Ozzie. Hit it out towards right field. This is back there towards the wall. Sailing back, and this one is out of the ballpark.
Tonight, you won't want to miss a minute of Atlanta Braves baseball as the Braves face off against Trevor Story and the Boston Red Sox at Truist Park. Braves radio's on the air at 6:05 Eastern, 5:05 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi with what you need to know if the Grizzlies are going to stave off elimination Game 5 of their second-round NBA playoff series tonight against the Warriors. They'll have to do so without their best player. Point guard Ja Morant doubtful the remainder of the postseason with a bone bruise in his right knee. Warriors coach Steve Kerr remains out for tonight's game with COVID-19. Associate head coach Mike Brown will coach in his place. Celtics center Robert Williams questionable for Game 5 tonight versus the Bucks with left knee soreness. Coverage at 6:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. More on the NBA when ESPN senior writer Andre Snellings joins Greeny in 35 minutes. Dallas coach Mike McCarthy will make his first trip to Green Bay to face his former team in Week 10 this fall. The NFL announcing the Cowboys-Packers matchup for November 13th ahead of the full 2022 schedule release tomorrow night.
Local sports is covered right here.
Well, appreciate what you guys do for sports, but also for high school sports and taking time to talk to us. That means a lot, and appreciate what you guys do and appreciate you having us on.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog. Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about. Be a dog. God bless the show. You are the Messiah. We need more dogs. This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live. Here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
And welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show on a hump day in the doghouse. The segment of the show is brought to you by TOC Sports. TOC Sports for all your orthopedic needs. It is TOC Sports. Athletes from all over the region and just folks from all over the region that have had any kind of orthopedic issue have been going to TOC Sports for years. They've got outlets and locations, satellite locations all throughout the Tennessee Valley. And their facilities down by the Huntsville Hospital are absolutely amazing. Just tremendous rehab facilities down there. A lot of it is just that. It's a rehab or therapy type of thing. It's not a surgical type thing. But if you do need surgery, they got the best in the business, and they got specialists for every part of the body. It's TOC Sports. All right, we are approaching the halfway point of the USFL season. It has come upon us quickly, but Game 5 of the 10-game regular season will be this weekend in Birmingham. And joining us now to talk about how it's going, Zach Kyleman is back from the USFL newsroom. Zach, welcome in. How are you?
Tom, I'm doing great, man. I actually just got back from being down in Birmingham for Week 4, checking out some games again, and I'll tell you, I've been really enjoying the season. Seems like things have been going pretty decent.
I find it really interesting, almost comical in a way, that the fans show up for the Birmingham game, for the Stallions. You know what I mean? They show up for the Birmingham Stallions game, but however, they don't necessarily, they're not showing up at all for the games involving any of the other teams. And it's like, okay, that's a football game, that's a football game, that's a football game, and that's a football game. There's 4 of them every weekend. But this one is called Birmingham, so you go to that one. That becomes your team. You know what I mean? You go to that one. And really, there's really no difference in any of the connection with any of the teams other than the word Birmingham. You wonder if they had left the city names off and it was just Stallions and Generals and Panthers and so on, that, what it would look like at that particular point in time. But I do find it interesting on the condition of the American sports fan that because the name Birmingham is attached to the Stallions, 15 to 20,000 people show up for those games and nobody shows up for any of the other games.
Yeah, it is funny to me, too. It's been fascinating to see this hub experiment kind of unfold as the weeks have gone on, because you're absolutely right. I mean, for the local appeal, the Stallions are definitely the biggest draw in town. You see with the broadcast schedulings that Fox has adjusted it to have the Stallions in prime time as much as possible. And it helps, too, when they're the only undefeated team now in the league, and to many power rankings are considered the best team in the league. So things in terms of the local scene, it's really great. Now, for the fan attendance, you do have to wonder if maybe the team city names being left off could have possibly changed something. I'm not 100% if that would have, but I have seen, at least with games like, for example, Michigan Panthers last week, there's some fans that'll travel down. It's not many, but they do come down if they are mega fans of their team. They're New Orleans games. That's the closest team that is to Birmingham. When I was there last weekend, that was probably the second biggest crowd were Breakers, and they're the second best team, arguably, in the USFL. But that's part of the whole experiment, honestly, and I think we're seeing what some people were considering might happen is that these teams that don't associate with the local area aren't getting as much of a draw, even with that nice price for tickets, and Fox is trying to make the best out of it.
Yeah, and, and the TV ratings have been good as well. And we don't know if those fans are coming down. There are a lot of people, for example, in North Alabama, there are a lot of Michigan transplants that came to North Alabama for various things and whatnot, but they immediately associate to that team. That's from their homeland. So I don't know how many of them are actually traveling into Birmingham to see a game or are just, hey, I'm from New Orleans, I'm going to go watch the Breakers play, and with the hope that the Breakers are going to end up in New Orleans at some particular point in time. Are you hearing anything, any rumblings, anything else? We had heard about Pittsburgh and Michigan, possibly Houston. having investors in those towns to take over those teams. Are you hearing anything in the first month or so of the season that would indicate that these teams will be able to disperse to their natural cities, if you will, once this season is over?
Nothing that's new on that front that we don't already know. The most I can go with is that, I'm getting more and more hearing that it's confident that season 2 is looking to be heading in that direction. So that's one thing that at least you can take home with you. But haven't heard anything, at least in terms of, like, say, direct names or investors or things like that. Just a lot of speculation on that front on where you could go. For example, I know, like, plenty of us have talked about, like, hey, where would New Orleans go? And there's talks like maybe like they go to Tulane and they can use that university over there, but nothing that's like concrete. I'm not going to leave anything on the show that's has been confirmed or anything like that.
Yeah, and you would think in Birmingham proper that they would be doing well in terms of finding ownership for the Birmingham team or local partners for the Birmingham team, only because of the fact that they have had good ratings on TV, and they have had excellent crowds, it seems like. I think the crowds are being underreported because of the free tickets that go to the kids. When you look in that stadium, that's a 40,000-seat stadium. Often it seems like, there's 20, 22,000, and they'll say 16,000 or whatever. But you would think it in Birmingham itself that it has been a home run, and it doesn't hurt, like you say, that the team, for my money, is the best team in the league.
Oh, yeah, it definitely – I would say it's the best team in the league. It got even better. They just signed Bo Scarborough.
Yeah.
Alabama alum himself coming back to town – or come back to Alabama, so that's nice to see there. But, yeah, they're the best team in the league. And, honestly, if you're a local investor for the Stallions, which I would be shocked if they don't have any local investment by next year, just because of the fact that the crowds have been really coming in. And I'll tell you, Tom, they definitely have been underreported, or the league has tried to kind of go away from reporting them because – remember, these tickets, not only are you buying them, but, you also bring in kids with those tickets, too, that come in. And it's up to 3 per family, if I'm remembering this accurately. So there's a lot of different accounting that you have to do to even keep an accurate tracker. Like for week 1, they said 17,000 was the ballpark number. And that was definitely not what was in the stands. There were plenty more fans in there. Now, it hasn't been gotten to that high since week 1, but it's still week 4. It still was a rowdy crowd. It was filling up much of the entire stadium of Protective. Those fans do enjoy that team, and it helps when you have a 4-0 team on your side.
Yeah, the Scarborough signing, I think, is interesting. There's no doubt about it. Yesterday, Lachlan Murdoch did his earnings call, and he said that through the first 3 weeks, nearly 20 million people who watched the USFL on TV and games on Fox and NBC are averaging 1.5 million viewers. And he compared it to other spring properties like the NHL F1, which did have like 4 million for the Miami race, but that's not typical. The EPL and MLS, which are both lower numbers than the 1.5 million or so that are watching a USFL game. And he didn't even mention the WNBA, which is a blip on a radar screen compared to the other. And, and he said all of those had earned sizable rights increases or expected to do so soon, and the USFL belongs in that competitive set. We always know you're going to get a bump that first week, and they had over 3 million viewers that first week. But 1.5 million average, 1.1, 1.2 million on Mother's Day afternoon on Fox, with a lot of other things going on, Darlington and all the other stuff that was going on. That's pretty impressive, man. It seems like that the league's viewership is holding up.
Yes, and that is something I think that people are taking note now. We did, of course, see that traditional week 2 dip in ratings. It's expected with every spring football league at this point. Week 1, you're going to get your best ratings because it's, of course, the curiosity that people want to see that new product. Week 2, of course, dips because some of those people don't stay. But what was nice, week 3 and 4, you had a few games on the over-the-air TV broadcast. Fox and NBC, both in the last 2 weeks, have had a broadcast that has increased in its overall ratings at some point or another. NBC's actually, between their previous 2 broadcasts, they went from 812,000 to the 1.15 million mark over that time span. So that's a good sign that they're finding their floor in their first season, something that a lot of broadcasters are looking to see. What's our floor? What's our base audience that we can build on? And if they can take that momentum through the rest of the year, get to the championship, which the hope is and thought is you can increase ratings going into the playoffs because it's much more impactful and you're keeping your core fan base there, that maybe you can take that and keep building on that as there are years to come.
they also are finding where the sweet spots are. Friday night, not a good TV audience. On FS1, which is a legit, deal there. I know the game started a little late because of the truck race that was going on there. But on FS1, only 207,000 on Friday night. But yet on Sunday afternoon, there's 1 million more people than that. That's when we want our football, right? Saturday night had a good crowd. We're good with Saturday night. We're good with Sunday afternoon. I don't care what kind of football it is. Friday night's going to be a tough sell, especially Friday night when the weather is getting better and better throughout the country.
Yeah, Friday nights, I think that some of those Friday contests are coming into more of a scheduling conflict is what we're seeing. You have to fit in that fourth game somewhere. For example, this past weekend, Friday night at 10 o'clock, I mean, there's a lot going on that they just had to balance that out and make it work. And, of course, it got delayed because NASCAR generally runs over anyway. So, of course, it started closer to 10:30 instead of 10 o'clock Eastern like it was originally going to say. But, I think that part of the deal with Fox and NBC, they're also experimenting on what works, too. You're seeing that, they're doing this flex scheduling 2 weeks out. They'll announce the week next of schedule, for example. So Week 6's schedule just came out roughly 2 days ago. You're going to see Week 7 schedule next week, so on and so forth. But that's all part of the whole thing. Not only are they trying to find their base in viewership and attendance and such, they're also trying to find what works best so that year 2, you get an even better product and even better attendance and better viewership. And just it's a lot of experimentation, but there's a lot of positives out of that experimentation as well you're seeing.
One of the things they're experimenting with is kind of the eye-in-the-sky official with Mike Pereira watching all of the games and being able to correct stuff immediately. I thought it was kind of a humorous moment in the Stallions game where the runner was clearly down short of the first down, and Pereira didn't catch it. He didn't see it. And when the broadcaster started talking to him, Joel Klatt or whatever starts talking to him, he's like, well, yeah, it was obvious that he was short. But they had marked it a first down, Mike. And he's like, well, it's short. So finally, the coach, I think it was Todd Haley, had to challenge it so that it would be overturned, and then they lose their challenge, their only challenge. And so the back and forth was, Mike, if you're supposed to catch that before the guy has to challenge it so he burns his challenge, how come you missed it? Well, I missed it, that type of thing. So even with the eye in the sky type thing, we still have basically a blown call that got fixed, but it cost the other team. The team had to use a challenge. It's one and only challenge to get the correct call when it was clear that the guy was down like 1.5 yards, almost 2 yards short of the line to gain.
I was in the stands for that, and I didn't get to watch the broadcast thing until later. I had someone send me a message going, "Hey, you might not want to watch this later. It's a."
Oh, Klatt was calling him out. Klatt was all over Mike Pereira. He was killing him.
So I heard. I went back and I checked it out. Same deal. I was like, "Oh my goodness, he's really ripping into him here." But when you have a command center situation like that, you have one challenge. Keep that in mind. You only get one for the entire game. That's the unfortunate with that part is him not catching that call. I'm glad that it hasn't happened more often because, geez, that could be more in the spotlight. But, that's something you have to consider, too, is, you don't want to have too many of those missed obvious calls, because that one challenge becomes even much more crucial considering that the sky judge, or really more the command center, I should be saying it properly, that is really what is trying to give you the most advantage and making sure that it's the most accurate game call as possible. Hilarious broadcast moment, though. You can't have too many of those. That's the thing. You don't want people getting turned off by something where it's like, well, wait a minute. Why do I have my color commentator yelling at the head of officiating of the league, who's supposed to be, his only job is supposed to be keeping an eye on calls like that? So completely, I almost say hilarious in a weird, very anti-league way, I guess. I'm not sure how to put it beyond that, but it was definitely more jarring looking after the fact.
Well, maybe you got multiple guys watching it, and maybe it's not just Mike Pereira. Maybe there should be 3 guys, and then one of them could say, "Hey, Mike, they just gave him a first down. The ball is clearly short." I don't know. It feels like it might be too much, for one dude. Zach Kalman with us from the USFL newsroom. On the field, the Stallions, due to injury, went back to Alex Magoo, who had been out injured a little bit himself. They've been kind of bouncing back and forth between Jamar Smith out of Louisiana Tech, who played for Skip Holtz there, and Alex Magoo. Magoo looked pretty good the last week. If they're both healthy, who's the quarterback? Because there's a reason why Magoo won that job in the first place.
Right. There's a reason. I also think that you have, in some ways, you have draft capital that is affecting this. For example, for the Pittsburgh Maulers, they just let go of Josh Love. He got picked up on waivers for the Panthers, but they kept Kyle Lauletta, even though Josh Love had been starting majority of the snaps through the first 3 weeks. And Magoo, think about this. Alex Magoo injured his ankle early week 1 for the Stallions in that win over the New Jersey Generals. Jamar Smith has been an excellent story in his own right. Of course, he has the better connection there with Skip Holtz, so you can argue that would be the case to keep him in. But then again, Alex is back. Smith, even though they beat, of course, the previous week prior, they had beaten the Breakers, Smith still had issues with accuracy, and it seemed like even in this game, it almost felt like it was trying to get Magoo back up to speed after being a few weeks away. I would say they stick with Magoo again. They just get another week under their belt, but I'd be watching out on those broadcasts between the two's connections, Skip Holtz and Alex Magoo, because it seemed like those two were not getting along very well towards the end of that contest. I know Jamar Smith is used to Skip getting on him, and those two seem to be a better connection from their days back at Louisiana Tech. So something to keep an eye on. I think Magoo stays in this week, though.
We did see a rule change, which is unusual in the middle of a season. The games did feel long. They felt like they were. I remember a couple of times watching the game. It's the first quarter, and I'm like, my God, is it still a first quarter? 3 minutes ago in the first quarter? It seems like it's taking forever. So they made a rule change where now they go running clock after an incomplete pass in the first and third quarters. It seems to be they don't want to give up that stop clock to move the change, which I like, the stop clock to move the change. So they want to keep that in place after a first down, and they want to be able to have that in the second and fourth quarter. Did it show up in the game times this past weekend?
Yeah, things were definitely a lot faster this weekend in terms of how the games flew by. It definitely seemed, and it showed in the broadcast length, that they were shortened. There were 1 or 2 games that did come right up on that 3-hour mark and just barely pass by it, depending on the game flow. So it showed up. It sped up the game well. I know that there are plenty of people having their own remarks on doing a mid-season change. I'll admit I'm one of those. That I'm not 100% on that. But I understand with Fox being a broadcast company that's handling length does get in the way. And as we saw, of course, with the Stallions Breakers, plenty of incompletions there, plenty of stoppages in play to go along with that. So I think they evaluated games like that in week 3 and went, all right, we need to maybe make something that slightly speeds it up. It's the best of both worlds. We still get to keep that action in the second and fourth quarter that allows us to have more intensity in those 2 quarters that are most important in the football game. So why not? And I wish that would have been something that maybe they would have gone into the season and had it ready beforehand, or they waited till the end. But alas, it did speed up the games. It got the result they wanted. And this is what we're going to get the rest of the year.
Is there a concern that when we do get to the playoffs that there'll be nobody in the stands in Canton, in as much as that none of these teams are anywhere near there? And Michigan, Jeff Fisher, I love him, but, they live by the field goal, die by the field goal. That's just such a Jeff Fisher thing, to have him lose that game because of that. But, when you look at the way it's going right now, if it were to end up the Stallions – and it's a north-south thing, right? It's not like the 2 best things. It's going to be a north-south thing when it's all said and done.
Right.
So it ends up being the Stallions and the Generals, let's say, in Canton, Ohio, in the championship game. I wonder what that'll look like, crowd-wise.
I'm wondering, too, and I think there's some more details the league needs to release. They haven't really said, for example, when tickets will be available for that. They haven't put prices down for that. There's other details on the weekend that I think they need to drop as well to kind of entice people. And I'm assuming that's going to pick up past the halfway point of the year. I imagine post this upcoming week 5, you're going to start seeing a little more advertising. They've been slightly saying it during games that they are playing Canton and that is where the championship is going to be played in the playoffs. But we need a little more details. I will go with you on this, that I do want to see how attendance fares. The Stallions at least look like the favorites to make it for the South. But even with that being said, it is a neutral site game. So you could say the championship just because it's that might bring people in, but that's to be determined. I would think that if it was Michigan or Pittsburgh that had a better chance of getting there, you might see some folks seeing how neutral site games are in Birmingham currently.
It would, if it's Birmingham and New Orleans in the in the playoff in the South, you'd think that there'd be someplace down here they could play that game. I know of a place, Lewis Cruz Stadium. Play that thing right there in Huntsville. They would get a crowd for it. The other thing is too, we mentioned the crowds for the Stallions. The league is very much in a mode of just establishing these teams, and they're going to let the local ownership partners, take care of advertising and so on, because there is zero advertisement about this. There's zero buzz. They don't put the games on local radio. They didn't spend any money advertising around the state of Alabama, for example. You don't hear commercials in Huntsville saying, hey, take the hour drive and come down to Birmingham to see the Stallions. But you don't see it. It's 100% reliant on what they're doing on the national level. And it seems like their mindset is, okay, once we get local ownership in place, then that'll be their problem. Those guys will have the incentive to do that. They don't really care about it, it seems like, right now.
Right. The thing I'm getting whenever I talk to officials from the league is that they're focused on making sure that they get the best product out there and that they just make the telecast as great as they can, establishing that this league is here past year one. Now, I will say that I think this week it seems like they are trying to slowly start to get more local promotion. I know Scooby Wright has been quite a personality for the Stallions. I have seen he's been getting some media exposure the last few days on a few local, at least a few local pundits and a few national podcasts. So they are slowly trying to do that, but I do think that it is going to come down to local investors and what they want to do, because in theory, it still be their business by the end of the day come year two, theoretically, once they move in that direction. So I think, right now, that's the same thing. They really are just focusing on making sure that they get this out there, say, hey, we exist. We'll focus on local stuff next year. I know there are fans in those markets that wish that there was more local push, but Fox has a pretty tight budget, as we have seen, and it seems like the local push is not as a focus in this instance.
Well, it's something that I think they really have to improve on the PR side of things. I can tell you that I have made 3 requests through their PR department, all right? 3 requests, 2 for coaches, for Skip Holtz and for Jeff Fisher, and 1 for a player. And I don't even get a return email. I mean, not even a return email. And we're ESPN Radio in Alabama, you know what I mean? And I can't even get a return email. So it's like if you don't have a connection directly to – I'd love to have Scooby Wright on the show and help promote the thing. But, that's an area that they really have to, I think, improve in big time. And we'll see what happens. And when they get competition from the USFL or from the XFL, we'll see what that looks like as well. I still feel like I would have preferred a February to May schedule. I'm just by the way, things are going on now, and with the NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, the weather and everything else that's going on, I wish that we were steamrolling towards the end of the season right now. So that's why it's going to be really interesting to see what happens between the X and the USFL.
Yeah, that's another thing with year two. And you see the XFL is doing their own announcements. They're starting to roll a few things out more, of course. Supposedly we're getting closer to hearing team and location announcements here soon. So, things with that, you're going to see the media turn up for that. Those two have already had their own, at least, spats on the side about, we're going to do this better, we're going to do that better than them. That's going to just keep picking up. Year two will be even more fascinating because you're going to have that market for spring football even more crowded. And we'll see which philosophy in terms of, that time of year works best. And, if the local investment, again, they're in markets too. USFL's got to get out to those markets because the XFL has been showing more and more. They're like, we're going to be in those cities. Just got to wait for the cities to be announced.
Yeah, it's going to be west of I think a lot of it's going to be west of the Mississippi, to be honest with you. I think that that's an area that's been left wide open. I think you'll see Dallas. I think you'll see St. Louis. I think you'll see, San Antonio. I think you'll see teams in those markets. Seattle, I think, will be in the league as well. So we'll see where they end up, but it's going to be very, very interesting as well. All right, man. As always, I appreciate you, Zach. Good stuff, and we'll look forward to talking again in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate being on the show anytime that you want, and trying to get down there one more time this year. We'll see. I'd love to get an end-of-the-year crowd there in Birmingham to check out.
Yeah, it'd be very, very cool. Thanks, man.
No problem. Catch it.
That's a good break in it. That's a true story, Grizz. I have 3 times, and I had former communication with the dude that handles public relations, the media, guy, whatever, from the league.
Yeah.
3 times I've requested interviews with this person, that person, or another person, and not even a email back. Not even we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And I only saw like a little bit of commercials. I would see every now and then, like if you go on YouTube, sometimes you'll get an ad every now and then, and it'll show like it'll just show like Birmingham in the background, and it'll say USFL, and that's about it. That's all I've really seen.
But that's not like going
a whole lot.
That's not like buying local radio.
Yeah.
And getting,
or at least the state. I mean, you would think that the whole state of Alabama would probably, want to jump on board on that, or get people jumped on board on that. So
yeah,
especially with it all being in Birmingham,
you would think that it would. I'm pretty certain what you're going to see for the XFL. You'll see a team in Dallas, okay, and I think Big Game Bob is already in the end. Yeah, Bob Stoops is in, so I think he'll be back in Dallas. You will see a team in Orlando. You will remember they had a team in Tampa Bay before. We got the Tampa Bay Bandits there. The Orlando Apollos of the AAF was one of the most successful teams. So I think you'll see a team in Orlando. I think Terrell Buckley, T-Buck, will be the head coach, I think, of that team. You will see a team in San Antonio. All right, I believe that will happen. I think that Reggie Barlow is going to be the head coach there. You will see a team in Seattle. The Seattle Dragons were a good draw, so I think you will see them. I could see June Jones maybe being out there. I could see Jim Haslett having that gig, one or the other. You could see a team in Seattle or in St. Louis. Like there'll be a team in St.
Easily.
Louis.
I wish the Rams were back in St.
Right.
Louis.
You'll see a team in St. Louis. It'll be interesting to see if Las Vegas gets a team. They need 3 or 4 more cities. We'll see where the rest of them end up. All right, let's get a break. We will come back. We got open lines the rest of the way. You want to get in, this is a good time to do it. 256-576-4977. Have you been to a USFL game? I'd love to hear your take on that on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
Baseball, the Braves and Red Sox tonight in Atlanta. Braves the -125 favorite at home. Boston +115. The over-under 7.5. Ian Anderson set to start for Atlanta against Nathan Eovaldi for the Sox. More NBA Game 5s tonight. The Bucks a 5.5-point underdog at the Celtics. The series tied at 2. Warriors a chance to clinch a spot in the Western Conference Finals. They're a 2.5-point favorite at the Grizzlies. Golden State leading the series 3-1. After a stunning upset at the Kentucky Derby, Rich Strike again not the favorite for the Preakness. Derby favorite Epicenter, the +250 favorite ahead of Rich Strike at +500, and Taba and Simplification at +800. The Preakness a week from Saturday, May 21st.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The Atlanta Braves are back on the field, and this reloaded roster is fired up to defend their crown and run it back in 2022.
Pitch on the way to Ozzie. Hit it out towards right field. This is back there towards the wall. Sailing back, and this one is out of the ballpark.
Tonight, you won't want to miss a minute of Atlanta Braves baseball as the Braves face off against Trevor Story and the Boston Red Sox at Truist Park. Braves radio's on the air at 6:05 Eastern, 5:05 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? 2 Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Did you know that your car, truck, or SUV may be worth over 30 or 40% more than it was last year? It's true. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we'd love your trade-in for a personalized custom factory order on a 2022 Explorer, Expedition, Ranger, or F-150. You'll get exactly the color and options you want, and Woody Anderson Ford will save you 5% off MSRP, plus you'll get any additional Ford factory rebates. Or if you need a new ride today, choose a Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicle. We have over 100 to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with our 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. At Woody Anderson Ford, whether it's a new order or a pre-owned, we promise to always do the right thing. Corner of George and Sparkman, hope to see you soon.
Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
The world champs are back. The Braves are out to defend their world championship. And behind Matt Pete is within reach.
There goes Ozzie, 2-2 on the way. Hit well. Deep center field. Might have ourselves a tie ball game. You betcha.
And we'll bring you every huge moment of the Braves 2022 season right here on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the upper 80s. Some of us could very well see the lower 90s. I'm not going to completely eliminate the opportunity for an isolated shower, but I don't want you to think too much into that. At the end of the day, most of us probably going to end up staying dry. We stay warm as we head into the overnight. Temperatures only dropping into the lower 60s. Much the same for your Thursday afternoon. A mostly sunny sky. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We cover all the SEC schools, including Western Union and Venmo.
I want that money!
You know, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of the Thom Abraham Show on your home for Crimson Tide's.
The segment of the Thom Abraham Show brought to you by Valley Equipment Rental. Valley Equipment Rental. 2 locations to serve you better now. Contractors looking for larger excavators, dozers, the bigger lifts, things like that, might want to head to the North Parkway location, north of Winchester Road. And those of you that are looking for just excavators and skid steers with all the attachments and all the lifts and so on, you can find those down at the South Parkway location. So go check that out as well. And, of course, if you're not sure about how to use a particular piece of equipment, they're going to help you with that. And if you don't have a pickup truck that you can tow, a small excavator or skid steer with their trailer, they can deliver anywhere in the Tennessee Valley. On top of all of that, if you do have a trailer and a pickup, you just drive by there, and they'll inspect your trailer, make sure it's safe and worthy, and then they'll load you up, and off you go. So check out Valley Equipment Rental for all of that. I got something like that going on this weekend. This weekend looks like a wide-open weekend, and our parking area that is out off of the alley that runs between my house and our guest house behind us, we have like a rock. I don't even want to call it stone. it's like a rock parking area, and it's got big bony stuff, and I want to scrape off some of that bony stuff, relocate it, and I've got some Crusher Run sitting in a pile that I want to spread and try and make that a little smoother area. I also have 5 Rosa Sharon bushes that I want to pull out and replace with a fence, but we keep going back and forth on that. My wife's not sure. She's like, I want the fence in before I'm going to make sure you're going to do the fence. I'm like, we'll do the fence. I got to get those bushes out of there. They're a mess, and I want to make the parking area deeper. It's difficult to get the Woody Anderson Ford F-150 into the parking area. You know what I mean? Straight. I got to pull it in, and I got to back up, and I got to straighten it out, and I got to back up, and I got to straighten it out. It's not deep enough. It's not deep enough for the F-150. And she doesn't park her Mustang there. There's no way. I mean, the Mustang, I'm surprised the Mustang's not in the bedroom with us. The Mustang, she parks the Mustang in the carport, which we always used in the past as a covered patio. Now the tables are out of there, and she's got it in there. And I want to open up the garage that I use for the wood shop now. I'm going to open that garage up for her so she can garage her car. So ultimately we can use the carport the way we want to use the carport. I want to build a barn. I'm going to move the boat into the barn. And then the little barn that's behind the guest house, that's going to become the wood shop. But it's a project, Grizz. I mean, it's going to take, I'm going to be 75 years old before all of this is done.
It's all worth it, though, right?
No. But I'll do it anyway.
Because you love her.
I do love her. No, and I love how everything, when it's done, I mean, it's going to be great.
Oh, yeah, it's going to look
What
good.
I'm really looking forward to is the barn. I mean, I'm looking at the barns now. I'm looking at a 36 by 30 barn. The left side, which would be closest to the alley, will be the bay where the boat goes, and it will have all pegboard around it, and it'll have all my tackle and everything in there. I got to take I want to back the boat in and have all of my stuff around the boat so that I can just like load stuff in and out, rods and things like that in and out of the boat.
Sounds legit. Sounds good.
Yeah, I want to do that. I need to get that done. Do you know why I can do all of this stuff?
Why is that?
First Alabama Mortgage. I did my refinance. I had a lot of value in my home. I did my refinance. I paid off when I did the refi, Grizz, I paid off the guest home, which is 900 square feet, 2 bedrooms and 1 bath, completely renovated. I paid off the guest house. I bought an extra half-acre lot next to the guest house, which is an empty lot where the barn's going to go. I put up the fence in the back and lowered my mortgage payment on top of all of that. I lowered when I say lowered my mortgage payment, I mean I lowered my mortgage payment almost in half. I was at 4.125, and I refied at 3.1 and pulled some money out, just some, of my house, just enough to pay off everything else. And I paid off probably $40,000 worth of credit cards. And my mortgage is less. And so now I have a little bit of extra jingling to do all of these projects with. Brandon is up. Brandon, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm spending money like yourself. I've had a crew over here excavating the backyard for today will be day number 3. So I guess we're working on $8,000-9,000 worth of dirt work so far.
What is the end project? What are you doing?
I bought the lot behind me to manage some waterfall coming down off the hill.
Yeah.
And the wife has ideas of a pool, and we cleared some of the lot behind us so my kid would have somewhere to go and flip his dirt bike and four-wheeler because he flips it more than he rides it.
Wow, that's good stuff, man. My wife wants a pool too, but that's an expensive project. She's like, once we do the barn, we can then put a pool next to the barn and then have a deck that comes off of a lean-to like of the barn, and it'll be around the pool. And I'm like, oh my God, the pools are expensive.
Are you gonna put a 200-inch projector in your barn?
No, but I will have probably a 40 in the. I'm afraid to make it. If I make it too comfortable, I'll never come in the house. But I will have probably a 40
in the back corner of the barn in the bay that the boat goes in. So when I go out there and I futz around, I'm a futzer. I'm an organizer and a futzer. I am very much into, like, I like my tools organized, and I like stuff put back where it goes, and I like my fishing stuff organized. And I'm OCD, so that's what it gets me. Like, one of the boys went in the barn and grabbed a crowbar, and the crowbar's hanging in a certain spot on the pegboard, and when I came back in, the crowbar's in a different spot. And I'm like, why is where did you get it from? Put it back where you got it from. You know, that's all I ask. But it's hard to get that done.
Well, you may have to put a small stage in there. I heard that Grizz got asked for his phone number so many times last night that he jumped up on stage and sang 8675309.
Did you drop your phone number, Grizz?
No, I didn't drop.
How many ladies walked out of that joint with your phone number?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
Older too.
Yeah. Oh, really? Like they want to mother you?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
He's looking for an accomplished woman with money at this point.
I got my first taste of Jen last night, though. She was hilarious. So.
Jen or Gin?
Did I say Jen?
Is that Jen or Jen?
Jen.
Oh, Jen.
Yeah, from the one that mistaked you and the one that you met at Furniture Factory and makes a regular appearance weekly.
Oh,
just
really?
To kind of break down everything. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
She was a lot of fun to be on with last night.
Yeah.
Well, we were about to go to. It was crazy because we were about to go to break, and she just kind of started walking up, and we just had to kind of extend it a little bit longer. And then Keith looked at me after, and he goes, "Yeah, we didn't go to break until like," and he's over here looking at me. We didn't go to break until 25 minutes after, and I was like, "We pulled a Thom Abraham.
Yeah,
it's okay. We'll be all right."
Well, and Tom, you were talking about the USFL.
Yeah.
I was actually helping my neighbor yesterday evening who was getting ready to retire from the gas company. He's building a tackle room in his basement. And
Nice.
I am helping him put up lights and doing all that stuff because he bought a new boat for his retirement, and he's going to spend a lot of time on the water. And we were talking about the USFL, and he said, if it would come on after the Super Bowl when it was cold, I would watch it more. He said, once it gets warm, he said, I'm headed out fishing. He said, but that window of time, he said, from right there in February, he said, where it rains in March and April, he said, if you gave me 8 or 10 weeks, he said, Saturday and Sunday, he said, for daylight savings, he said, I'm probably watching a lot of the games. He said, I'm entertained then. He said, but once it becomes fishing, he said, I really can't do that. And, I keep it on in the house in the background, and I know people that kind of turn it on for something to have in the background, and they're kind of tuned in and out. But having that captive audience during that time of the year where it's just cold and there's nothing to do, that's the window of time you got to capitalize on.
That's what I agree with that 100% because it's not just it's fishing, it's golf, it's projects. You know what I mean? I mean, I got projects now that I'm involved in. I am not in the house over the weekend very much. I try, I if I'm not fishing, I still get up early, generally on a Saturday or Sunday morning, get up early. And I try to be in the chair by 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon just to kind of decompress and watch some stuff and so on. But I could tell you that February and March, many of those weekends here, even in the Dirty South, many of those weekends are just kind of miserable. And I would definitely sit there and watch games. And the other thing is, I'm sitting there and I'm battling watching my favorite baseball team. I'm watching the NHL playoffs. If I got money on an NBA game, I might watch that a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of competition for the USFL, for spring football at this time of year, and they're still getting 1.5 million people per game, which is amazing. I think they would get 2.2, 2.3 million in February and March. I mean, outside of the madness, really, what the heck do you have in February and March?
Not a whole lot, especially for me. I don't. I mean, my son does wrestling up till winter, and when that's done, he doesn't do baseball. So on the weekends, we just kind of do little things and go out if we can. We went and I took him indoor skydiving last week. He really enjoyed that, but it only lasted an hour. And they actually had the game on at the iFly indoor skydiving in Atlanta down near the Atlanta Braves Stadium. They had the game on in the background, and people were kind of sitting there casually watching it. So I do believe spring football can live. It's just got to be what we're talking about. It's got to be the right time. and you really got to push it.
And it adds to the juice. You know what I mean? You're in that football mood, and the spring games are only a couple of hours. I mean, they don't take that much. If there was a spring game on, you may be more apt to watch a USFL game at 4 o'clock after a 2 o'clock spring game or a 1 o'clock spring game because you're in the mood for it. You know what I mean? I think spring football. In fact, I think spring football in college football would actually assist it because I think we're talking football. All football is good football. So we're talking football at that particular point in time. I think it would be a boon to it, if nothing else. And the numbers, look, like I say, right now the numbers are $1.5 million a game. Look at all the promotion that the WNBA gets. I mean, there is a fraction of people watching the WNBA compared to watching the USFL. Look at all the promotion that ESPN gives to the WNBA, which is unwatchable. The MLS, which gets smaller crowd, way smaller audience than does USFL football. The EPL is early in the morning on Saturday and Sunday, and even that gets smaller audiences. You get 900,000 people watching. Gets 1 million, something like that. NASCAR gets 4 million. And the NBA playoffs are getting 3.5 million, and the NHL playoffs are getting 1.5 million, and the USFL is getting 1.5 million.
Well, I'm with you there. I think the WNBA is a tax write-off for the NBA. You ever turn their games on, and you might see people in the first 2 or 3 rows, and the rest of the seats are covered over. So, I mean, that's just them beating their chest to say, hey, we spend money. Inequality, and I'm not mad at him for that. But
no, that's 100%. Yeah, that's 100% part of the deal with the NBA and ESPN. If you're going to carry the NBA, you have to carry the WNBA because nobody would carry the WNBA on its own. The deal is that if you are carrying the NBA, you have to show so many WNBA games and dedicate so many hours to the WNBA. It's 1,000% charity. The WNBA is 1,000% charity.
Well, and with the football, I would like to see the football be a little more physical than the NFL allows it to be. I think you ought to be able to hit there's no such thing as a defenseless receiver to me. I don't want to hear that crap. If you're on a football field, you're out there. If you go across the middle and catch a ball and you get knocked back 20 years ago, well, then that crap happens. And I'd also like to see the pass interference only be 15 yards. A spot foul decimates somebody. That is one of the most terrible things. The game is set up against the defense.
Oh, no doubt.
Allow the defense to get back in it. Allow defense to get back in it some and put some physicality back in it. And I think that would help a little bit when you turn the screen on and you say, oh, they can actually hit people in this football league. I think that gives a little bit more of an appeal that they need to think of. So what color is the barn going to be? Is it going to be a red barn?
Red.
Is it going to be
it'll be a red barn. It'll be traditional red barn, white trim, red tin, white trim, and silver roof.
Sea Rock City on the roof?
It's not going to say Sea Rock City on the roof. I guarantee you it won't say Sea Rock City on the roof. All right, man. Appreciate it.
Have a great one.
All right, thanks. All right, let's get a break in there. We'll come back and finish it up next right here. It's the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
More NBA Game 5s tonight. The Bucks a 5.5-point underdog at the Celtics. The series tied at 2. Warriors a chance to clinch a spot in the Western Conference Finals. They're a 2.5-point favorite at the Grizzlies. Golden State leading the series 3-1. After a stunning upset at the Kentucky Derby, Rich Strike again not the favorite for the Preakness. Derby favorite Epicenter, the plus 250 favorite ahead of Rich Strike at plus 500, and Taba and Simplification at plus 800. The Preakness a week from Saturday, May 21st. Baseball, the Braves and Red Sox tonight in Atlanta. Braves the minus 125 favorite at home. Boston plus 115, the over-under 7.5. Ian Anderson set to start for Atlanta against Nathan Eovaldi for the Sox.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's Kentucky Derby season, and Bad Daddy's Burger Bar is celebrating by offering another awesome zone deal. If you haven't tried our chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness, then now is the time to sink your teeth into one of Bad Daddy's award-winning burgers for half price. Our zone deal this week gets you $50 worth of delicious burgers made with premium Angus beef for just $25. Log on 977ESPN.com now and get your Bad Daddy's Burger Bar zone deal before they're gone.
New message. What up, what up? It's Heather's cousin. You dated her in college, or maybe you were just in the same snacks and stuff, so I could totally bring some chips.
When you get a boat, you also get new friends. Make sure Progressive's one of them, and get coverage today for as little as $100 a year.
Hey, also, I'm a little short on cash, so can you cover the chips? Thanks. I can see why Heather liked you.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Annual premium for basic liability policy not available in all states.
I'm James Lomax, and I'm running to be your state representative. I'm running because the stakes have never been higher. I was raised here. I attended Grissom High School in UAH, and now my wife Elizabeth and I are building a family here. Through my career in commercial real estate, I've seen firsthand the challenges facing our area, but also the unique opportunities that lay ahead. As your state representative, I will work with other leaders to keep our economy on track while reeling in new industries and being a champion for existing businesses. I'll make sure that we have the best schools in our state and that we get the fair share of road funding, and that Redstone Arsenal is promoted. I believe first and foremost that life begins at conception and it must be protected. With fresh, conservative leadership, I'll stand up and fight against a toxic, cancel culture-based agenda, and I'll fight for a better tomorrow in Alabama. Vote in the Republican primary on May 24th. Paid for by Friends of James Lomax. P.O. Box 875, Huntsville, Alabama 35804.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Alabama A&M University football. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com and view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see ya in the Kia. Go Bulldogs!
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
The Atlanta Braves are back on the field, and this reloaded roster is fired up to defend their crown and run it back in 2022.
Pitch on the way to Ozzie. Hit it out towards right field. This is back there towards the wall. Sailing back, and this one is out of the ballpark.
Tonight, you won't want to miss a minute of Atlanta Braves baseball as the Braves face off against Trevor Story and the Boston Red Sox at Truist Park. Braves radio's on the air at 6:05 Eastern, 5:05 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the upper 80s. Some of us could very well see the lower 90s. I'm not going to completely eliminate the opportunity for an isolated shower, but I don't want you to think too much into that. At the end of the day, most of us probably going to end up staying dry. We stay warm as we head into the overnight. Temperatures only dropping into the lower 60s. Much the same for your Thursday afternoon. A mostly sunny sky. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All the press conferences.
It's our mental energy. I would say spend less time complaining about, when I was going to get an opportunity. Just spend more time training and working towards.
Plus, all of the rat poison is served up right here.
It's yummy.
On 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Sweet Home Alabama is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford. Don't y'all love Woody Anderson Ford now? If you didn't love them before, you love them now. They're bringing us Sweet Home. At Woody Anderson Ford, they can get the service done on your vehicle. And they'll make sure that they get it done right and on time, no matter what kind of vehicle it is. You can get it taken care of at Woody Anderson Ford. Bottom of the first, Grizz, in the Bronx. Guess who's up?
home happy. A 3-run walk-off home run.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah.
George Springer hit a home run, a leadoff home run for Toronto to give the Blue Jays a 1-0 lead in that game. Aaron Judge is up now with 1 out.
Jose Berrios pretty well this year, 6 for 12 with 1 double, 1 homer, and 2
3-0. They're not going to throw him a strike. They're not going to throw him a strike. You know, it's not going to happen. They're not going to throw him a strike. Grizz sent me an interesting story. It was pretty funny about a guy who lost a bet for his fantasy team and fantasy football team. Oh, he popped out the center. 3-0, they cut him loose. He popped out to right. They cut him loose. The guy lost a bet in his fantasy football. He shot 112. He did not qualify at the local qualifier for the U.S. Open by shooting 112. What's interesting about it, though, his 112 score, it says in the story, was the worst score in the U.S. Open qualifier by 4 shots.
4 shots?
By 4 shots? Somebody else shot 108? I mean, shouldn't there be like a rule? The
guy lost
20, yeah. 58 players tried. Only 25 of the players broke 80. I think you'd have to be a little better than that. Chuck Oliver is next, right here on 97.7 ESPN. The Zone.
Did you know that your car, truck, or SUV may be worth over 30 or 40% more than it was last year? It's true. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we'd love your trade-in for a personalized custom factory order on a 2022 Explorer, Expedition, Ranger, or F-150. You'll get exactly the color and options you want, and Woody Anderson Ford will save you 5% off MSRP, plus you'll get any additional Ford factory rebates.